Welcome back to Life with the Spectrum. I'm your host, Gina Cavalli. As summer is here, our kids need something to do. They need to build upon the skills that they learned at school. They need to transition into the next phase of their life, going from small play sessions to maybe computer skills. What does that look like? Well, I found a nonprofit organization that's helping to do just that right here, and with satellite locations all over the metro. Please welcome to the show founder and executive director of Lekotek, Helene Prokesch. Hi, Helene. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for this opportunity. Glad to be here.
Helene, tell me, how did you come up with Lekotek?
So the word Lekotek is actually a Swedish word. It means play library. And it was the concept of two parents in Scandinavia in the 1960s. They had children who were born with disabilities. And even in our country in the 1960s and even into the 1970s, if you had a child with disabilities, you were told not to bring the baby home, but to place the child in an institution. These two moms said, no, our children are going to come home. They are going to live with us and in our community. And what do we need to make this possible? So all children learn through play. All children interact with family members through play. And so they came up with the concept of Lekotek, which is a toy lending library. And these were their tools to include their child into their families.
So their child themselves had a disability or a challenge, correct?
Correct. These two moms that started Lekotek, and in the 1960s in Norway, Denmark, and Sweden, if you had a child with a disability, you went to your local Lekotek. So there were 200 Lekoteks. And the concept was for early intervention in children between the ages of 0 and 8.
Wow. And now Lekotek has expanded those services, right? I mean, you service kids all the way through 15, 18 years old, correct?
That's correct. And that's because nobody wants to leave Lekotek. Our play sessions are still for 0 to 8-year-olds where we have the parent in the play session with us and where we're modeling how to use toys that we've selected and why. So this morning I saw a little boy who was born without arms, and he is so adept with his feet. It's incredible. He can use the computer with his feet. He can manipulate a toy, pegs with his feet. But then for older kids, they wouldn't go to a play session with their parents, an adolescent or a teen, right? They don't want to have anything to do with us. So at the end of the day, we do have a club and a Leko Pals program that reaches that age group.
What is the Leko Pals? Is that like a virtual thing, or do they get to make other friends outside of like Atlanta?
No, it's not outside of Atlanta, but it's more community activity. So we might go to Habima Theater, we might go bowling. So it's more community activities. And then our club for 8 to 15-year-olds, that's Computer Club, and that's at the center that I'm talking to you from.
What kinds of computer things do you do there? Do they learn how to like write code, or what are we talking about?
No, most of our kids are not that high functioning. It's more like I'm talking to you from using a touch window. So one of the reasons the iPad is such a great device is because if I can't use my hands to use the keyboard or the mouse, I can just use this built-in touch window. So we're all about accessibility. I know children with autism can use their hands pretty well, so they would just use the typical mouse and keyboard. But it's just having fun, learning through play, interacting. We also have high school students that act as peer mentors, and that's great.
Oh, that sounds fun. That gives them something to do too,
Well, I think part of our mission to include children into their families and communities, part of our mission is disability awareness. So we want, typical high schoolers, college students, we want to help them feel comfortable around and helping a child with disabilities.
Sure. When you're aware, you can accept. I love that kind of motto for sure. Helene Prokesch, the founder and executive director over at Lekotek. Stay with me because I want to talk about the cost that's involved with some of these programs. Hold on.
Hi, I'm Lear Gilmars. Thanks to our friends at
Welcome back to Life with the Spectrum. I'm your host, Gina Cavalli. Today with me, Helene Prokesch, who's the founder and executive director at Lekotek. Now, there's not just a Tucker branch. There's locations all over the metro, correct?
Yes, we have 5 satellites, Gainesville, Duluth, Kennesaw, Alpharetta, and Southside. We are at Fayette in Peachtree City.
Oh, wonderful. There's a big community down there. That's where I grew up. Let me ask you what the parents want to know. What's the cost involved from the play sessions early on to then moving into the computer club? And then, of course, a little bit more in that Lekotek Pals where they're kind of driven themselves as to what they want to do. Do you charge a monthly fee? Is this free? Is it going through insurance?
So the annual dues for the play sessions, which are once a month, but then everything goes home with the family to use, is $250 for the year. And families can pay that over the year, and we never deny services to any family in financial need. So that being said, we ask families to pay something, even if it's just $20 or $50 a year, so that then we have more funding to help everyone who needs scholarship funding. The Pals and Club, those are more like $10 a visit.
Right.
There's no membership.
And they can come and go, so they don't have to pay that membership when then they're kind of like, you know, because parents can make kids feel bad about not wanting to attend something if they paid for that up front. So this is a pay as you go. Like, hey, we want you to go to club. It's $10 this time.
Exactly, and that might cover the cost of pizza, or if it's Habima Theater, it might cover the cost of the ticket. We're a nonprofit, so we are dependent on community support. You know, corporate foundation giving is what keeps us afloat.
You're writing a lot of grants, aren't you there, Helene? Now,
yes, I am.
Speaking of fundraising, and do you have any like annual fundraisers? I think I remember you mentioning like a golf classic, but a brew something or a brew fest?
A brew fest is held in February, but so we have those 3 events: the brew fest in February, the golf tournament was held May 1st, and we have our run August 26th, and it will be held at
coming up.
Brook Run in Dunwoody, and that's our largest special event. Hundreds of runners come out, families have teams. You know, it's not a little bit like the Autism Walk in certain ways. And then there's a 5K for the real hardcore runners.
Awesome. And then is there, what is the cost associated with that? I mean, I know it's a fundraiser, so is it like a $35 donation that goes?
Yeah, there's an entry fee.
An entry fee.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
This sounds like so much fun. I know that Lyric, my son, who's 10 years old, he's really into gaming right now, which I think all 10-year-olds are. He doesn't need a challenge or disability. That's just the mindset of a 10-year-old. Got to have Minecraft and in some respects Fortnite and some other things.
Yeah, we have Minecraft. It was donated by Microsoft.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's a big hit at club.
Those are on your computers there then at the...
Correct.
How long are these clubs? Are they an hour, 2 hours?
They're 2 hours. Yes, from 4 to 6 is held here in Tucker. Lisa does club on Friday nights in Cobb. But those are the only 2 sites that offer club. We've got these 6 Lekoteks, but we have 10 of us running them, and only 5 of us are full-time. So we're constantly going in many directions and trying to use the staff as best we can. So not everything is offered at all the Lekoteks. Some have larger space.
And would you say that there's extra things going on there at Lekotek during the summer? Like, in addition to the clubs that you have going on right now, are there like summer programs or that you're offering day camps or week-long camps?
Yeah, we've got, they're totally filled, and unfortunately even with waiting lists, but in June and July, we have a morning session of computer camp and an afternoon session. You know, if there are young families listening, if you get involved with Lekotek or even if you're an older family and you just want to get on our waiting lists, not on our waiting list, want to get on our mailing list, just let us know. But the easiest thing is to go to our website. It's lekotekga.org, and you don't have to be a Lekotek play session family. You can sign up for club. We've got annual like zoo days, or
fun.
we just had music and happy tales. We just did music and happy tales this Saturday. So you could just go and sign up. So the best thing is really just to go to our website and you'll see everything we're doing.
And that's lekotekga.org, right?
Yes, it is.
Helene Prokesch, the founder and executive director over at Lekotek. When we get back, we're going to find out a little bit about some additional things and maybe expansion to our young adults. Stay with me.
I'm Lear Gillenwaters. Thanks for checking out this episode of Life with the Spectrum. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll always see the newest episodes when they come out.
Welcome back to Life with the Spectrum. I'm your host, Gina Cavalli. With me today, Helene Prokesch, who's the founder and executive director over at Lekotek. Helene, do you find that there's a real need for social things to do with young adults? And here's why I bring this up. So I run an event here all over the metro called Table Talk. It's Atlanta's first premier speed dating event for young adults on the spectrum, and it's gaining in popularity. And I had one of my participants tell me something that just kind of stuck with me, like in my gut. And I said, so what brought you here? You know, you live all the way in Woodstock. And he goes, ever since I graduated college, I don't have an opportunity to be social. And that just stuck with me, like, I'm going to cry thinking about it, because we do, you know, you're in class with people, right, up until a certain point. And then after that, when you graduate college or whatever, you go off to work. And if you are lucky enough, you're working with people that want to be social with you. Are there any plans for Lekotek to possibly expand into that young adult social club after the age of 15?
Unfortunately not, only because our funding is limited, and I think we need to be careful where we can't be all things to all people. And I think we have to stay true to our niche. I think it's very unfortunate because I think, honestly, Lekotek really was a 0 to 5-year-old program. And we had such lengthy we had such a lengthy waiting list. I said, let's do 0 to 8. But I think there need to be other groups that can pick up the ball. We are doing everything we possibly can, and we're stretched pretty thin. We do need additional Lekotek leaders. So I don't know if anyone that hears this has a degree in special education or knows of anyone, even has a degree in an allied field, like occupational therapy. Those are the credentials needed to be a Lekotek teacher. So we're struggling there too because we're understaffed. So you've got two components. Our budget now is $800,000. So I've got to be able to raise that in order to run programs at our 5 sites. So I hate to answer no, but I have to be honest.
Well, no, and I'd rather you be honest with me, because it sounds like the concentration for Lekotek really is in that 0 to 8 and 8 to 15, that fun time, 0 to 8, specifically when those play sessions come in so handy to learn and build on those skills. When you said something earlier in the show that the families get to take home whatever it is for that month. Are you talking about like toys?
Yeah, so I saw this little boy this morning and I loaned out, a musical like flower toy, and it had like 10, 12 little flowers. And I was getting him to isolate one at a time, or he can, in a different mode, he can pick a particular flower and it'll play a certain song. I loaned out a shape sorter. And so the toys I select are developmentally appropriate for where he's at, whether I want to work on fine motor skills, whether I want to work on speech and language. And then I use the computer as well. We have a sensory room and a sensory floor at Lekotek. And these are all computer-generated games that we are playing on the floor. or actually in the sensory room, there are two walls that the computer game shines on, basically, or projects on, and I am using an iPad to control everything.
That's cool.
And then we've gotten computers and iPads donated to us. So we have actually loaned them out to some of our families that are coming for play sessions. Once we get to know them, we can outfit the computer with any devices they need. Those really need to be going to families that are play session families so that we know what to put on that computer to meet your child's individual needs.
Do you ever have play sessions with other kids where it's kid and kid so they can parallel play or get that social aspect?
That happens more like if we have a Happy Tales and Music. That happens more like at camp. We have 12, 15 kids at a time. But what's, I guess, the mission of Lekotek is to include your child into your family. And so your family comes with siblings or cousins, or this morning grandparents came. So that's somewhat our mission. If you want that and you want to have your child come with a friend, that's always permissible anytime.
Sure.
But then if we have a zoo day, if we have the pumpkin patch day, boating, we have fishing and rafting, those activities really are more families are meeting other families.
Helene, I know that you've been doing this a long time now. What would you say is one of the biggest success stories, a story that just makes your heart smile? I'm sure you have a lot.
The mission is to include the child into their family and the family into the community. And a mission is the word inclusion. So I think our greatest success stories are when our Lekotek graduates are attending college, whether it's University of Southern California or whether it's Kennesaw State in the special ed program. And many of our youngsters are. We have a board member who is a young lady with muscular dystrophy who was one of my first kids, and she's the chair of funding, and she's fabulous. But I guess the best story is it's hard to come up with one story, but a young man who has cerebral palsy, and he went to University of Southern California's media school. They accepted only 30 kids. He called me when he got his letter of acceptance, and this is now like 5-6 years ago. And I said, Nick, you must be so excited. You must be calling all your teachers. You must be on the phone all day long. And he said, well, actually, Miss Helene, you're getting the first call. And I said, I'm getting the first call? I was kind of surprised by that because Lekotek, it's not a school. I'm not seeing you every day. He said, yes, you're getting the first call because when I was a preschooler, my parents wanted me to go to the Greek Orthodox Church, and they couldn't figure out how to include me because I was a youngster that used a wheelchair. And you came to the school and you said, it's not a big deal. You know, just attach his pencil to a string and so it won't fall off his wheelchair or off his tabletop. You know, you said, go get a bucket swing and put it on that tree when we have recess. So his message was, you taught me and you taught our family that I should be treated just like anybody else, and the expectations for me should also be the same.
Amen.
And we've got other kids with a young man who was Employee of the Month at Truist, and he's been there for over 10 years, and he has a rare genetic disorder, and he has pretty significant developmental delays. And before COVID, he figured out how to take, 2 trains to get to work downtown. So there are many success stories. And then there are other kids who unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, they're in sheltered workshops.
Okay.
But they're still here in their homes, in their communities, or living in group homes. And so that's our mission of inclusion.
Well, I dig what you guys are doing at Lekotek with 5 different branches. There's certainly one near you. I love the fact that there's one on the south end of town, too. We forget about the folks on the south end of town, but there's a huge population of neurodiverse and disabilities and challenges that we want to remember down there. Helene Prokesch, the founder and executive director at Lekotek, thank you so much for being with me. One more time, how can people find you?
I think the best thing is to go to the website, Lekotek, LEKOTEKGA.org. And there's a lot to it, but, go when you have a few minutes and look at the calendar of events. It'll give you an idea of all the different things we're doing.
Thank you so much again, Helene, for being on the show.
Thank you, Gina.
It's really cool to know that with 5 different locations, there's a reason that Lekotek is kind of gaining momentum and speed. Make sure to find them, lekotekga.org. Thanks again for coming in to Life with the Spectrum. I hope you're enjoying all of the great people that I'm talking to. I tell you what, I'm learning something too each and every week on the show, and it's my pleasure to bring these shows to you. So please like, comment, share, subscribe below to the channel. And until next time, we live life with the Spectrum. See ya.
Bye.